Welcome back. In today's video, we're going to explore another Linux machine from Cyberseclabs. This machine is all about Redis. Actually, Redis is, I've just Googled about this, looked up what does Redis mean, right? I didn't know about this. Basically, it's kind of open source, licensed. It is data structure database, right? So you can consider it kind of database to store structured data, such as strings, hashes, lists, sets. So in this video, we're gonna see how we can exploit this. So this box is all about Redis, and we're assuming that there's a sysadmin somewhere in the world. They have a Linux server, and in this Linux server, they have implementation of Redis that is vulnerable, so we're gonna exploit it. That's the scenario. Okay, so upon doing nmap scan, we have found we have three open ports, 22, 80, and 6379. And this port is, there is Redis on this port. But how can we interact with this port, right? How can I interact with this port to find out how can we launch commands on this service? So basically, we can use telnet, and we put the IP 172.31.1.9. The port is 6379. So here we are connected to that port, but no idea what are the commands that we will launch. Let's go back to Redis and see if there is documentation about this. So we go to documentation, the full list of commands. That is great. ACL load, save, list. It is very important to get ourselves familiar with the tool we are testing before doing any kind of exploitation or enumeration, as this will do some problems for your clients in your real case. So here we have all the commands. I am not sure what the command I'm going to run. Notes, save config reset, info. Let me type info here. Okay, so I get some info, right? So, yep, if I go back, we can also launch other commands like list. So let's go down, list, error. Okay, info again. All right, that was successful. Only info, but we can see we can users. Okay, let's see users. Users. Oh, ACL users. So that didn't work. Reload the ACLs from the configured ACL file. So we need to supply file here. Yeah. So that will not work for us. Client get directory get ID returns the client ID for the current connection. Let's type client ID. ID. Oh. Client kill, client list, get the list of the client connections. Let me click on that, see what do we have to do here. Client ID. Okay, let's go back. Try client list, kill, okay. Client list. All right, so we have some info here. ID equal 3, and this is the address, port, but not much useful info for the exploitation. Let's go back. ACL, who am I? But we need an ACL here to run this command. Let's go down. We have a bunch of commands actually. Let's filter them by group, see what we can get here. Cluster, connection, we have here client get name, get the current connection name, pose. Let's see if we can establish some connection here. Unblock, tracking, set name, reply, kill. Authenticated the server. We are already authenticated. Client caching. Well, so lists. Okay. strings. All right. Um, let me go here. We have a couple of info that we haven't processed here. When we typed info, we have these data. So Redis version is 4.0.8. Well, that is meaningful since it's going to help us to find an exploit that matches this version. Here's the Linux version, the operating system version. Don't take this info as a literal info, right? Don't take it literally. Just, understand the mechanism. So we are connected to an exposed port, and we learned how the service running on this port works. So we are now interacting with the service. So I have found some info like the version of the service, the operating system version. Just don't focus on Linux, Windows. These all, these all of these, details come after you have gained limited access. And the only thing that differs is the privilege escalation. That's what I saw. So here you have TCP port. The Redis is listening on GCC version. All right. So what if we get this and search for an exploit? So 4.0.8. Let's go down. I'm going to keep the connection here live. Maybe we need that later. So view. I'm going to split this, drag this up, make zoom in. So now I'm going to use search exploit -w Redis. Okay, paste. See what do we got here? Nope, nothing. Buffer overflow. Uh, I think this is not meaningful at all. Let's find more info. Well, that is not meaningful actually, because this buffer overflow applies on version 5.0 and we are on 4.0. And let me widen this search a bit more. Search exploit Redis. Okay, now we have the previous one that we get. We have denial of service, not interested, unauthenticated code execution metasploit, replication code execution metasploit. Seems interesting. So let's use this one, right? So basically now we're going to launch MSF cancel. All right. So I guess we're not going to need this instance. We're going to close it. Click on yes. Okay. So search type exploit name Redis. So we have one replication. I want this one. So I got this one. No idea why. Let me try this one. Maybe it's going to work. So use, copy that, paste, show options. So we have a couple of parameters to set now. We have lhost, lport. Okay, set lhost 10, 10.07, set lport 4545. And I'm going to set the server host as my IP. And exploit. Let's see if we get lucky. No, we are not lucky. Set our host. Oh, the R host. We forgot the R host. So the R host is 172.31.1.9. Exploit. Permission denied. Come on. Why? Okay, I think we're gonna need to run this as root. So let me copy that, exit to do -I, massive cancel. Now we're going to use the module again, show options, set lhost 10.10.07, set hard hosts 172.1.9, set srv host 7, set lport 4.5. Okay, let's see if it's gonna work. I think we are in, but let's wait Mr. Metasploit to give us the full shell. All right, so we got Meterpreter access, and now it's doing it's deleting something now. Okay, now shell. I'm not okay with this shell. Seems unstable. Yeah, it is very erratic shell. It's not stable. So I've been trying to invoke this shell, but it's not working. So I'm going to revert back to interpreter and work from here. Okay, so basically guys, for this video, as it revolves around Redis, this one, the exploitation, or sorry, the privilege escalation of this Linux box also revolves around finding a way to use Redis, right? So basically here in the documentation, if you go to the documentation here, we go down. Okay, let's find more about the logs. The log of this framework are the privilege escalation vector of this Linux box. So I'm looking for the logs here. There is search log. No. So in the documentation, there is here, go up, up, up. The configuration, you go down. No, it's not mentioning anything about logs. Let's go back. I saw one item here talks about logs. Modules, client, commands, no. All right. I couldn't remember where I found it. As you can see, it's a very extensive framework. We can barely look up something in here. So let's go back. So here, guys, so basically here, we're going to go to cd var log redis. cd ls. So as you can see in the Redis logs, in the framework log files or log directory, you can see we have two files. One is log manager, and other directory is, as you can see, the name is logs. And for the permissions, you can type ls-la. So I can't seem to find the owner. Okay, so basically here, let me type ID, oh my, oh, help, get your ID. So we are some user, red, okay. pwd, let's go back, s-a. Okay, so basically here we have a log manager file and we have directory called logs. If we see what is the content of this log manager, what does actually, what is its function? So cat log manager. All right, so log manager, see what it does. So here it invokes the bash and it does, here is the for loop. In the for loop, it goes through the everything, right? Everything inside the directory, the logs directory here. What it does actually, it executes do file, right? It executes every file, every entry under the logs directory. So if we go to logs, we see nothing in here, right? So basically, until far, the log manager does nothing. Why? As you can see, the reason is very obvious. There is nothing inside the logs directory to be executed, right? Now, the trick here is to put a file of our choosing, right? A script of our choosing in the logs directory so that the logs manager will execute that. Okay, so let's do that. What we can do here, since we have bash, it's preferable to use bash one-liner. So we go back, Google bash one-liner reverse shell. Okay, fair enough. Let's take this. And now we're gonna store it in a file right under logs directory. All right, so for this purpose, we're gonna use, let's see where we are now. We are in logs. So echo, double quotes, and before we echo, let's modify that a bit. So here we put 4546, and here we put our IP 0.10.0.7, and we take it, paste, and we're gonna echo that to a script file, some file here, and I hope that we can write on this directory, which is logs shell.sh unknown command echo. Okay, so what we can do here, let's get the help. All right, we can upload actually. So let's do that on our local file system. Close. So since the log manager starts with bin bash, then a reverse shell one-liner is preferable. Okay. So we get one bash one-liner, right? And we put it inside a file. that is going to run by the log manager. And this file will be placed in the logs directory. So let's do that. Here, open a new file, paste that. Okay. So basically here, we have the IP ready, we have the address, everything, right? So now we're going to save as something like shell2sh. Okay, now we're going to upload that. What was this? Okay. Let's do some tweaks here. So we're going to split. So sudo move shell to okay. I don't think we need this. Okay, let's go up and we're going to use the upload. Use interpreter upload here. So we have upload. Where is it? Okay. So upload shell. What was the name? Shell2 sh. And we're going to upload that to the pwd. Okay. Uh, all right, so it has been uploaded. pwd. Let's launch a listener here. ncltp 454546. What is that? So after some time, we got the reverse shell back to our attacking box. As you can see, we are root. So that was it. I hope you find this helpful. And basically, this box was fun, although it was kind of only revolves around one aspect, which is the Redis framework or the Redis database. So basically, that was it. But actually, we have found a couple of stuff actually to put some kind of lessons learned, which is if you have an application on your running on your server, no, doesn't matter it doesn't matter whether it is Linux or Windows, Active Directory, Mac. Don't leave any application in an outdated format. So after waiting for some time, I got here the connection back to my command and control. As you can see, we are root. So that was it, and I hope you find this helpful and enjoyable. And don't forget that although this video or although this training was only about Redis and how can we find exploitation factors for this database framework, uh, there's also one lesson to be learned actually, which is don't leave any app on your server don't leave it outdated all the time. Implement a patch management program to be run and deployed. I mean, periodically. It's better to do it month to month basis, so you get the most out of any updates that are released for your deployed apps on the internet. So unless Redis was not vulnerable, right, we wouldn't have been able to arrive at this stage. So just because Redis wasn't updated, the fact that it was vulnerable or outdated allowed us to do different kinds of evil stuff, arriving at the root access. So that was it, and see you in the next video.